So talking about the new moon in Virgo in Hasta Nakshatra, organizing all the details in your world with detachment and service, purification. The next 30 days are very important. Sam, and I'm making this new moon in Virgo video from Joshua Tree, 29 Palms in California, here in the desert at a festival called Bhakti Fest. So the sun is pretty bright, got my hat on. So this new moon in Virgo happens on September 29th. It's going to happen early in the morning here on the West Coast, the exact sun-moon conjunction. So of course these new moons, this is a time when sun and moon come together, and this begins a new cycle. And this new cycle of Virgo energy is a time when we're going to be really focusing on details, and the details that are meant to bring greater structure and organization to our world and the power structures in our world. So Virgo comes after Leo. Of course, Leo is the sign of the king and the kingdom and the power structures. We can see the power structures in our world getting more and more, sort of challenged and questioned a little bit. And, how we're organizing and communicating and serving those power structures in our world is a big part of the Virgo lesson. I just moved into another little area here. And so, we see this, these structures, politically, all kinds of geopolitical upheavals about to start, with people calling into question the way the authorities are expressing themselves and expressing their power. People making noise. And in your world, you can definitely also probably see a correlation between the details of your life, how to put them, put things in a better, in a better structure, how to organize things better. Notice, how you're handling your money and your, maybe your work, or even your.
I have to go like 10 times. You know that, right?
I drank 4 bottles in one.
So in your life, notice how you're spending your money, how you're organizing the, the power structures in your world. You might notice how, how much of service you are to the things that are the most important. And again, this often has to do with our work. Leo is very much the sign of the authority that we have, or the authorities in our life. Virgo comes later to really ponder and think about that. For example, how well respected are you at work? How well do you treat those who are underneath of you? Maybe you're seeing people that, who you have authority over. Maybe you're seeing them, upset and angry at you, or maybe you're angry and upset at those who have power over you. Or this kind of lesson is what we get with Virgo. So it's how well we're handling the power in our life, the power structures, and the real benefit is to better organize and serve the things of power that are truly lighting up our world. So the first thing to do is to make sure that the things that are lighting up your world and that are empowering you, which are Leo themes, are actually empowering and are actually clear and uplifting and pure and sattvic. Leo is a sattvic sign, and the power structures in your life, which includes things like how you earn your money and how you get by in the world, are supposed to be empowering and uplifting, not just utilitarian, which means it's not just supposed to be that you make as much money as you can, let's say, in your work. If you're just trying to make as much money as you can, there's going to be a point where you're not satisfied, because it's not just about, your power is more than just something that you get to wield and maybe wield over other people. if that's all it is for you, then it's not going to fill you up, and it's not going to nurture you on a deeper level. It's not going to empower you spiritually. And so those qualities of Virgo, what you might be experiencing now, or what you're going to be challenged to experience and know for the next 30 days, is where you're evaluating these things and saying, but is this really the purest expression of my energy and of my power and the best that I can do? And how can I do it better? And you'll notice this by how well, let's say if it's at your work, how much are you really appreciated? How much are you actually, of service to something higher? Again, and so Virgo is where we notice all of those details, and we're trying to course correct. So it's also a time, in your world, one of the most tangible things that happens with Virgo is let's say, like we clean up our house and our yard and we arrange our immediate environment. Virgo is great for all of those habits and routines, and even things like taxes and, getting everything in its proper place. And again, when we think of something like a government or a power structure, it's only going to be as efficient and work to its maximum relative to the ability to organize all of the different systems and to organize and structure all of the different tasks that need to be done. We can see in the world now, because there's so much corruption, let's just say the example of government, because governments and leaders are so corrupt, all of the systems they put in place aren't really maximized to deliver the greatest benefit. They're often maximized to deliver the greatest amount of power back to the sovereign or back to the person. Where bureaucracies are set up to just maintain power for the sake of maintaining power, not for the greater benefit of all. And so again, this cycle in Virgo, we can very well see corruption revealed. We can see the corruption of governments, the corruption of authority in our life. Now this is going to be in the nakshatra of Hasta. Hasta literally means the hand, and it's the hand that is hopefully, again, of service. Not just the hand that grabs, but the hand that serves, and the hand that's open and easy, and where we are not just grabbing onto something and holding on for dear life, but where we see the need for what needs to be done, and then we do it with the most skill possible and with the least amount of attachment. So again, Hasta, which means the hand, is a symbol of attachment or detachment, because when we perform our actions without attachment to the outcome on a personal level, then the results and the fruits of those actions are sweet, because we're not focused on what we get, we're focused on the higher purpose. So this is why Virgo itself is a sign of service, devotion, but it's service to what? Well, it's service to that higher purpose, that higher cause. In many ways, service of that Leo energy that I just described. It's in service of the kingdom and the kingdom flourishing and benefiting everyone and being a center of power in your life. So Hasta is very much that hand of service that improves the kingdom, improves the power structures in your world, and allows you to better organize yourself, organize the world around you, and move things around in the way that's necessary in order to do that. And a few other things that are happening. Saturn is now direct in Sagittarius, so it's not retrograde anymore, so we're definitely feeling this need to move forward, and this ability and capacity to move forward with things in our life, especially those things that are inspiring us. Saturn and Ketu have been very close. Saturn having been retrograde, he's no longer retrograde. So we're starting to see certain things moving forward, and especially as it relates to things like justice and truth, because this is the nature of Sagittarius, moving forth and moving forward with matters of justice in our life and causes that we're willing to commit to, regardless of their, even their sort of political ramifications. Of course, we're seeing this in politics. In the U.S. politics, some big things have shifted. But also in your world, what are you ready to commit to, work hard towards? Are you willing to follow your inspirations? I've been talking about this for quite a while. It's going to get even more and more important now because Saturn is no longer retrograde. He's basically stationary direct, which means he's going to be moving forward, but he's not really moving forward yet, but he's no longer moving backwards, so he's starting to move forward. But it's a real challenge for us to now commit to what inspires us, not just to what we are afraid of losing or what have you. There's a few bees around here. I'm glad to see the bees. But besides that, we also have Jupiter in Scorpio is still also moving forward. The last degrees of Scorpio within the next 2 months, the next month and a half, Jupiter's going to go into Sagittarius here. It's hard to believe it's the end of September already, 2019. So a little more than a month, Jupiter will be in Sagittarius. So we're now finishing up that transit, which means with Jupiter going into Sagittarius, there's going to be a greater sense of justice that comes around the end of this year, especially November forward. And we also have several planets right now in Virgo, not just the Sun, Moon, but also Venus and Mars. Mercury is also there, but Mercury is about to go into Libra. But there's a lot of energy in Virgo right now, and this is really showing that capacity for organizing things, getting things, precise, pure, and destroying the mistakes and abuses of power and things that we've noticed that haven't allowed us to maximize the power structures in our life. So this will be an important 30-day cycle of this year. By the next 30-day cycle, Saturn will be moving forward a lot quicker. But right now we're still in that sort of, it feels a bit like a sort of holding pattern, but we're definitely, strongly evaluating all of the details that maybe have had us stuck a little bit. And now it's time to really organize things better and set up a very coherent power structure in your life.